Here we are again, fellas. Monday morning, behind the glass doors. It's everyone's.
We are full Maca today.
We got Maca back.
Last time we were Macaless, and now we are officially full Maca.
We are.
For having us back, guys.
You nearly got
what I said last time, guys.
So you had a very, very strict regime to go through to get back in the mix, right? Letting back in. So welcome back, guys. Everyone's favourite time of the week. When I say everyone, I mean...
Four people.
Us three.
Yeah.
But yeah, today we want to have a chat with you guys about when you come to PWD or any agency, this should be the case, but specifically for us, PWD, we don't just say, oh, you want Google AdWords or you want a website. There is a process we go through to make sure that what we are recommending, i.e. myself and Maurizio here, because we're the first point of contact, to make sure you get what you need from the campaign. So
every client's unique and every process is going to be unique to that client.
And it's not just a cookie cutter scenario. No. So, especially with anything with websites, with Google AdWords, with SEO, the first thing we need to do as the sales consultants is to make sure we fully understand your business and also understand what you're trying to achieve from any project, again, be it websites or marketing or SEO. So someone phones up, Maurizio, what's the first thing you do?
Look, first thing is apart from asking them to come in to meet the team, I think it's for us, as you're just saying, every business is unique. Every opportunity is unique. We talk about these general Google ads, SEO, which is very general, but understanding specifically what that business is wanting and needing and what they're trying to drive is why we need to have a good scope B&A around those needs, because each need is different.
Of course it is. Yeah, and I think as well, clients don't always have much of an idea themselves. They come to us, we need more leads, or we need a website, or we need to rank better in Google, without really understanding exactly what that means or what the end goal looks like. So our job, again, is to find out, where do they want to get to in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, and then to formulate our proposal and recommendations around that. Because, sometimes what they think they need is not necessarily what they do need. Right? Like the common one for me is we get clients regularly saying, we want SEO, we want to rank better.
Right.
But what they don't always realise is that SEO, depending on where you're currently ranking, is a long-term strategy. So it can take 8 to 12 months or sometimes even more, especially if there's a really strong player who's ranking high at the moment and you're right back on, page 10 of Google, which is the best place to hide a dead body, by the way. It's going to take a bit of a while to get there. And sometimes if you want more instantaneous lead generation, something like Google AdWords or social media is a better way to go. And our job is to take control of that situation.
You're right. It's like, and they don't understand. They've heard it takes time, but it sounds salesy. Why does it take time? And that does depend on where they're sitting now, how their site is built, etc., where the competition is at, how many times, it's a marathon, so how many laps is the competition ahead of them, and why and where we can show them what they are, whether it's backlinks, and give them a gauge on how long it will take to catch up. It can be done.
Yeah.
It's just how long.
And you're giving them a strategy, which is really what they're coming here for. So you can give them all these different terms and be like, oh, you could use this. And again, it's all based on what they need, but a strategy is really going to give you a game plan to kind of move forward with. So that's a really good 100%. Starting point.
I sometimes feel like we're in sales, we have a little bit of an ego at times, but I think we do a really good job, yourself, me, and Louisa, who's our other business or digital advisor here, in putting the client's needs first, right? We've got people here at PWD who are a lot smarter than we are. I'm speaking for myself. Can't speak.
No, I agree.
When someone wants to know about UX, I'll come to Chris and say, what do we recommend for this client? Or when someone wants to get their website ranking, I can go to Harrison or Jacob or James or any of the SEO boys here and say, guys, here's a website. What do we need to do to get this ranking? How long do you think it will take? What sort of budgets do we need to play with? Google AdWords, I go to Nish or Sean and say, look, here's what you want to achieve from a lead perspective. What do we need to do? What do we need to spend with Google? So we've got a whole...
It changes daily.
Of course it does.
The budgets are set because it's a stock exchange of Google. The budgets can change. Those amounts invested can change. How you're targeting can change. So going back to the team and getting that fresh information, what's currently happening, is only when we're putting that proposal together, it's more in line.
And the market changes as well. So even something that you would recommend a year ago is not something that you would recommend now based on the shifting kind of market.
Yeah, something that I love about working at PWD, and I think the clients really benefit from this, is if someone does come in and we haven't got the answers, even if it's in a meeting in here, I'd regularly go out and say to you or one of your team there and the crowd, like, here's the website, can you give me 10 minutes of your time, Chris? Right. Just to kind of have a bit of a chat when the client's in there. So, we've got full access to that top level, like creative director, the SEO team.
Yep.
I had a meeting on Friday and I had to call, there was a technical question about development side of things, and I had to call Patrice, who's our lead developer here, and he was fine. I just simply, because I always sometimes feel a bit bad asking, because obviously you guys got your eyeballs, but no one ever says no.
You got to remember, this is what we enjoy. We enjoy problem solution. And so when you come to us, it's not something where we're just a production house and we're just making something, right? Yeah. So when you come to us, you say, here's a client who has a problem. I am one of the first people to be like, awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to sit there and then, create a diagnosis or go through it and break it apart and say, okay, based on what I'm seeing, these are some of the solutions we can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel like you're offering value to that client just with that consultation.
But also what's so great about, I guess, the team around us is when a client's here, we value their time. So sometimes, exactly what you're saying, I had to call Patrice in for a web development to a client that's in this travel business, right? Yeah. And Patrice was hard at work, as they do as the coders, but he still said that 10 minutes he came in, gave the answer to what that client was needing, above and beyond me, as we were saying, smarter guys, gave that answer, walked back out, went back to his role doing what he's done, but the client got the answer he needed instead of waiting another day, 2 days, right? Because, they're here now, we're speaking, was a vital point. So going out and drawing Patrice in to help. And you guys are always good at it. Yeah. You will always stop what you're doing to come in if needed. And I find that not so much helps us as the consultants, but we are client focused first. So it's one of those things, if you come and talk to me, no matter what I'm doing, and say, hey, Chris, can you just pop in this meeting for 5 minutes and talk to this client? I always do it. I'll never because he's the director of sales now? Or not?
You got it in. You got it in.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It was we have to say that.
I'm going to do that graphic.
I'm still Chris.
I'm going to do that graphic where they see all the confetti kind of coming up and stuff like that. Which is
it wouldn't surprise me. But when you say you come in for 5 minutes, it normally isn't 5 minutes either, by the way. You normally come in and there's more.
It'll change. But again. I think it's more the idea that it's never a burden for us, no matter kind of what position we're in at that time. Because you're right. The big thing that we offer is that instead of you saying, look, I'll have to go talk to somebody and I'll get back to you, which means you now have another day or so before you get back to that client with just an answer of something which could have been answered in that moment. And then the client feels more appreciated because you took that time out to do it. And again, we're client focused first. So we will always do that to try to help facilitate that.
We do hear that often, don't we? From the feedback, from whether they've come on board or not, but the feedback that we constantly get is our resources, the people, the information, how we communicated is always,
we're accessible. Everyone's accessible.
Yes.
You're not having to deal with us old farts in sales like Maurizio and Chris. You actually get some real kind of intelligent people who sit behind us and sometimes make us smarter than we are.
Directors as well.
Whatever. So no, we do. But you mentioned before as well, Maurizio, the value for time. If someone's going to give us half an hour or an hour of their day, not really knowing what that's going to look like at the end, I think it's really important. We always try to make sure they take something, whether they're going to be a client of ours or not. I always want to make sure that they take something away. And if they apply it themselves and don't have to spend a penny, great, we've done our job.
And we're good listeners. I think we do listen very well. When we're asking questions, we're trying to get the meaningful questions, to get the information we need, really not. Look, it's the outcome, client focus, so that when we come back to the table and putting that proposal, those options together, we've hit the mark. We're ticking the boxes of why they've reached out in the first place. Whether we're the right team or not at the end of it, we're ticking the right boxes.
But the client also feels like they're part of that journey. They don't feel like they're kind of just, sitting in the passenger seat and just kind of watching this thing happen. They feel like they're a part of it. They're here kind of making decisions about where we're helping kind of lead that
and we want to be a part of it, don't they? But we constantly say we're in partnership together.
You touched on something there, and I think it's important to emphasise. It's got to be the right fit for both. We're not going to take people's money if it's just not going to work.
No.
Not from a commercial perspective. We want to get results. That's all we're trying to do is get results. And sometimes the numbers we put back to clients is more than they expected. But the numbers we put to them are the right numbers. We know what you're going to have to spend with Google. And, a lot of these things, aren't benefiting us from a commercial perspective.
No.
The spend you're going to spend with Google, say for a Google AdWords campaign, if it's too low, that's the number one reason that these campaigns fail, because there's not enough fuel for the fire to get results.
Yeah.
And our job is to be very, no BS.
Transparent about it. Yeah.
And if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And, the client also needs to know that we're the right fit for them.
Yes.
Be it a personality thing, be it a price thing.
Well, everyone's out there just trying to make the sale in the first place, and how that sale then eventuates. But how many times do you do the numbers and it does not work out to regularly in those numbers? In, like, for instance, we talk about sponsored Google ads, working back, the numbers won't actually work out to what that client is looking for or needing. And, they're giving the right budget or the right recommendation.
Yeah.
Whether they go forward or not, at least it's for their interest. Whether they go somewhere else and do those numbers.
Yeah.
We're recommending the correct strategy for them.
And it's a big commitment as well. You got to remember, these people are kind of locking in. They're like, I want to do this particular project with you, this agency, for this amount of time, and I'm trusting in these particular aspects of it. So create more of that value right from the start. It makes them feel a little bit more confident and comfortable about moving forward.
I reckon in closing, because we're up to my 10 minutes mark, and you know my thing about that, boys. If anyone does want to reach out for a conversation about digital marketing or website, it doesn't mean you're committed to use PWD, but we will make sure we give you value for your time. Maurizio will pay for the coffees.
Absolutely.
I'll use my company credit card and pay for the coffees if it's me. Maurizio has to pay for his own. He's
a director, that's why I don't have a credit card.
But the point is, just reach out. Like, a chat won't cost you anything. We'll make sure we give you value. You'll have access to all our amazing resources at PWD. And sometimes we'll look smarter than we are because we've got people behind us who make it. So, but thanks for joining, everyone. When I say one, I probably mean everyone. We'll see you next week, guys. Always a pleasure. Boys, cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.